Blake Lively fears profound mental health issues are at risk of being leaked amid Justin Baldoni legal.
There's definitely claims of mental health issues. Like this is not something that is just being pulled out of nowhere.
She is a problem everywhere she goes. And so a lot of times these profound mental health issues will explain that pattern of why so many people do not like her.
Blake Lively is struggling bad. Sources reveal what she's using to cope with legal collapse. Blake Lively's world, once as glossy as a high-budget film premiere, is reportedly teetering on the brink of chaos.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are moving to protect their text messages and sensitive data amid their legal battle with Justin Baldoni.
The hallmark of her public persona has always been a breezy combination of effortless style, witty social media banter, and a rock-solid celebrity marriage that seemed impervious to drama. Yet beneath the immaculate Instagram posts and her usual aura of calm, insiders insist she's falling apart as a massive legal battle rages on. A showdown that might not just tarnish her pristine image, but derail her entire career.
It's just very bizarre. There's a lot of things that he could have talked about, but to reveal that your client has profound mental health issues is very alarming because, we all have mental health things.
Observers close to the situation describe a private meltdown that's as complicated as any courtroom drama, fueled by missteps in her lawsuit against Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios, unexpected revelations from legal documents, and rumors that the star is pulling out all the stops to stay afloat. If you've ever wondered how a Hollywood A-lister copes when the spotlight becomes a glaring interrogation lamp, Blake's story offers an alarming behind-the-scenes glimpse.
What Blake Lively wants is to use mental health as a reason why she shouldn't share her private messages.
The crux of her legal predicament lies in the expansive complaint she filed, which includes sexual harassment and retaliation claims under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. That's serious business, especially in the era of heightened social awareness around discrimination and workplace misconduct. Initially, it looked like she was poised to stand on firm ground, a famous actress, a heartfelt story, and a massive media platform to amplify her allegations. But cracks emerged when eagle-eyed legal experts began to question whether Blake had satisfied critical procedural steps. Specifically, Title VII claims demand that a plaintiff first file with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission or a relevant state agency.
However, Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, has hit back at Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, calling their proposal unnecessary.
Rumors abound that while she did manage a quick, immediate right to sue notice in California, she never filed at the federal level. That omission could be a ticking time bomb, potentially disqualifying some of her most significant claims before a judge even considers the substance of her allegations. The tension around this possible oversight has apparently taken a toll on Blake's nerves. Contrary to the flawless, curated persona she typically exhibits, sources say she's spending a lot of time in firefight mode, anxiously calling her legal team at odd hours and holding lengthy Zoom sessions with crisis managers who meticulously track every scrap of coverage about her case.
Gavronsky stressed that such a designation be placed on information that included speaking about children, profound mental health issues, or locations of private residences or home.
She's been known for meticulously micromanaging her social media feeds, ensuring her brand remains as luminous as ever. But these days, her Instagram has fallen oddly silent on the lawsuit. While she's posted occasional snippets of family life or promotional photos, she's steering clear of acknowledging the swirling controversy, even as tabloids dissect every new court filing. This abrupt change in tone is telling for someone who once harnessed the internet's fascination to craft an image of the approachable yet glamorous celebrity. To cope with the rising pressure, Blake is reportedly leaning on an array of stress-busting tactics. Friends note that she's always turned to controlled creativity in times of high tension, whether it's late-night cooking endeavors or elaborate dessert-making marathons. But insiders now claim she's taken these hobbies to the extreme. One story going around is that she recently hosted a stress bake-off at her home, cranking out everything from spiced banana bread to salted caramel brownies. The sugar-laden spree may have soothed her nerves temporarily, but it left her kitchen staff absolutely exhausted. This kind of culinary escapism isn't unprecedented for celebrities in crisis. Some bury themselves in yoga, others in green juices. But apparently, Blake's chosen comfort is the sweet clatter of mixing bowls and measuring cups.
Mental health defense will be discussed as Blake Lively's case
Yet, even a pantry full of homemade sweets can't distract her entirely from the very real possibility that her Title VII claims might be thrown out. If that happens, legal experts say it could eviscerate the financial and symbolic heft of her lawsuit. Title VII claims often carry the potential for large punitive damages, not to mention enormous leverage in settlement talks. Without them, what remains of her complaint might still have some traction, but it would be a far weaker tool for pressuring the defendants. Justin Baldoni, Wayfarer, and the rest. Worse, the collapse of those claims might lead to serious credibility questions. If she overlooked or skirted such a fundamental procedural requirement, critics might wonder which other aspects of her story fail to add up. It could be a swift PR blow to the star, who anchored her entire legal narrative in the language of workplace justice and female empowerment. This is precisely why Ryan Reynolds, her high-profile husband, is believed to be engaged in an equally high-stakes balancing act behind the scenes. Already dealing with his own controversies, including that scandalous rumor about pressuring his young daughter to record explicit lines for a Deadpool cameo, Ryan's been fending off critics who call his fatherly brand a facade. Sources say he's juggling damage control for both himself and Blake, working with top-tier PR strategists to keep their power couple mystique from shattering under the relentless glare of negative headlines.
I believe this is probably related to personality disorders.
While he hasn't directly commented on Blake's predicament, insiders claim he's quietly worried that a catastrophic legal loss might spill over onto his own career. After all, the two have long sold themselves as a unified brand, even launching entrepreneurial ventures and philanthropic efforts with a combined star wattage. If Blake's meltdown deepens, it's not difficult to imagine Ryan's comedic shtick losing some of its charm in the public eye. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni and his camp are reportedly watching the meltdown with a mix of caution and measured optimism. They're not exactly crowing about the potential holes in Blake's complaint. Public gloating could easily backfire if a judge still allows part of her claims to proceed, but they remain quietly confident about the legal advantage her omissions might hand them. Word is they plan to raise the EEOC question at a strategic moment, perhaps during a motion for summary judgment, where they can highlight that her Title VII claims lack the necessary authorization. Should the judge agree, a large portion of her lawsuit could evaporate with one gavel strike. For Baldoni, a victory on that front wouldn't just be about money or headlines. It would be personal vindication, especially given how forcefully the Lively camp has painted him as a manipulative figure.
She seems like kind of a jerk. Wow, she's like kind of a bully. She's rather mean. This guy who had, comparatively very little power was forced now to come out and tell the truth about Blake Lively.
All of this intensifies the emotional strain on Blake, who already faced skepticism when her allegations first surfaced. Some observers recall that she filed her lawsuit in federal court, but never pursued a formal investigation through the California Civil Rights Department beyond the token immediate right to sue letter, nor did she complete the steps required by the EEOC for a federal-level inquiry. That stands in stark contrast to most sexual harassment claimants, who systematically exhaust these remedies before filing in court. If she was truly certain of her claims, critics argue, wouldn't she have wanted a thorough administrative probe to bolster her case? The Star's defenders counter that a protracted government investigation can drag on for years, and that celebrities with time-sensitive reputations to protect may feel compelled to expedite the process. But that explanation doesn't fully address the specific legal pitfalls of ignoring Title VII procedure. It also doesn't soothe the impression that she might be more interested in a quick PR narrative than a rigorous legal resolution.
Like anyone else who would be going through a situation where you're accused of something that you did not do, and are suffering in a public way, I think it's distressful, to say the least.
As the meltdown accelerates, more rumors float around about how else Blake is coping. Some say she's latching onto a small cadre of loyal best friends, the kind who happily pick up a video call at 3 a.m. to hear about the latest court filing. These confidants are said to be talking her through panic attacks, urging her to get better sleep, and reminding her that no matter the outcome, she can reinvent herself, like so many celebrities have done after public fiascos. Another rumor has it she's binge-watching anything escapist, from old Gossip Girl episodes where she once reigned supreme on camera, to corny reality dating shows that let her switch off the incessant swirl of legal talk.
In real life, it's the other way around, and I constantly have to call Blake and be like, it's okay, you're good at giving interviews, I promise you, people like you, they respect you.
A lot of talking.
Gotta give her a pep talk on like, we're amazing, we're powerful.
It might sound silly, but mental compartmentalization can be a lifeline when your real-world problems feel like a script you can't rewrite. Yet the most intriguing claim is that Blake may attempt a last-minute pivot to rectify her Title VII oversight. The question is, would that even be possible this far along in the legal process? Generally, once you've failed to file with the EEOC within the statutory deadlines, playing catch-up becomes a precarious gamble. You can't simply wave a magic wand and fix the mistake. Deadlines are deadlines after all, and the law is notoriously unforgiving about them. Some suspect her lawyers might file a new complaint or an amended complaint if they think they can argue that the alleged harassment continued into the statutory period, or that the timeline for filing was somehow told by other factors. But any attempt at a retroactive fix might look desperate. The judge or the public could interpret it as an admission that her initial approach was deeply flawed. Of course, not all watchers are convinced that her meltdown is purely about fear of losing in court. Some believe Blake also worries that the illusions of moral high ground she's cultivated might be eroding. In an era where speaking out is both applauded and scrutinized, being perceived as a champion for workplace justice can elevate a celebrity's brand, unless it backfires. If the judge dismisses her claims because of something as basic as failing to meet federal filing requirements, the blow to her credibility could be devastating. She might become fodder for late-night jokes and social media snark, the star who tried to weaponize a movement but forgot to do her homework. That potential humiliation adds a psychological weight to her every move in the kitchen, every extended phone call with her legal counsel, and every beep on her phone signaling new coverage from a celebrity news site. The meltdown's severity can also be measured by the mood of those around her. Even her staff, typically trained to present a seamless, cheerful front, have been described as on eggshells. One anecdote claims that a minor scheduling conflict, something about a last-minute shift in a hairstylist's availability, resulted in a meltdown that ended with Blake scolding aides in uncharacteristically sharp tones. The tension is so thick that stylists and assistants are allegedly tiptoeing around her, hoping to avoid triggering more stress. Though none of this is public, it's precisely the kind of insider chatter that leaks out when celebrities are in crisis. The brand that took years to build, a brand of quiet confidence, comedic timing, and unwavering class, risks unraveling in a matter of weeks if the meltdown intensifies and the legal defeat looms large. It doesn't help that the entire fiasco unfolds against a backdrop of other swirling controversies. Ryan Reynolds' rumored manipulations on film sets and the alleged cameo fiasco with their daughter have given critics reason to question the authenticity of this couple's squeaky clean veneer. Fans who once adored their playful banter wonder if there's something darker behind the scenes, especially as more hints of tension bubble to the surface. The couple's typical strategy, flipping controversies into comedic Instagram posts, may not work here, given the seriousness of the allegations and the intricacy of the legal quagmire. If anything, Blake's meltdown underscores that there's nothing funny about facing down potentially crippling lawsuits when your entire brand rests on a perfect lifestyle narrative. Ultimately, the best hope for Blake might be a carefully negotiated settlement that allows her to save face without requiring a public admission of wrongdoing on either side. That scenario, however, hinges on whether Justin Baldoni and his team feel inclined to offer her an exit ramp. For now, it appears they're content to let the meltdown run its course, confident that legal technicalities and her own strategic miscalculations may do most of the damage. Each passing week could bring new revelations. Maybe Blake tries to spin the situation in her favor via a sympathetic media interview, or maybe she stages a philanthropic event to pivot the narrative away from her lawsuit, hoping the public's short attention span will shift elsewhere. Until then, she'll reportedly keep cycling through her comfort rituals, dessert-laden evenings, frantic phone calls, short attempts at Netflix escapism, hoping that something works. The big unknown is whether any amount of chocolate or bubblegum reality TV can truly quell the dread of seeing her Title VII claims shredded in a scathing judicial ruling. And if that day arrives, her meltdown might only intensify as she grapples with the possibility that she played her high-stakes legal hand entirely wrong. After all, for someone who soared to stardom by seeming to do everything right, the notion of stumbling so publicly, so expensively, and potentially so pointlessly is a nightmare scenario. For now, Blake is holding it together by the slenderest of threads, one batch of brownies at a time. Only time will tell if she can pull off a last-minute legal fix, or if the meltdown we're seeing is just the beginning of a much bigger unraveling.